My mortgage payment went from $1,600 to $3,500. This is all I have been seeing going on my timeline on TikTok right now on how everybody's mortgage rates are increasing. Honestly, I can tell you what, when I first bought my house and I had a realtor, my realtor did not tell me anything. I bought the house. I didn't know what I was doing. I was not a realtor then, of course. And I did not learn about my payment until the closing day. I did not know how much my mortgage payment was going to be until the closing day. And I signed on the dotted line. At that point, for me, I was ready to buy a house. So I just felt like it was what it was. Unfortunately, my mortgage payment is $1,600 and it's still $1,600. But I guess my question is, for everyone's mortgage that's going up, like I know it's a terrible situation, but also when you are purchasing your homes, are you not understanding what questions to ask your lender? Because you can always ask your lender when you go under contract on a home to show you what your monthly payment is going to be. Of course, it's going to be an estimate, but also at the closing table, when the attorney is going over how much you're going to pay for your mortgage, and they give you a piece of paper that has all your mortgages for however many ever years that you have to pay your mortgage for. At that time, when you're signing your papers, don't just sign the papers, just ask questions that you may have about your mortgage. Because once you sign and close on your home, that's your home. And then years down the line, you're looking at, you have to sell your home. So it's like unfortunate. Of course, property tax always goes up. So, I mean, that could be another question. When you're buying a home, ask about the property tax. Another thing that could kill you is incentives. Sometimes it's good to have incentives on new construction homes, but sometimes it's not, especially when you're doing the 2-1 buy down. Basically, when your interest rate is going to be one price for 1 year, it's going to go up the next year, and then it might go up the third year. Ask what your mortgage rate is going to go up to for the third year. You might can afford the house for year 1 and 2, but if you can't afford it for year 3, then what's the point of getting the incentive? Like, don't just go looking into a new construction because they're giving you $10,000 and they're giving you a 2-1 buy down, because you might be the next person where you're going to be saying, my mortgage payment was $1,500 and now my mortgage payment is $2,500 because my realtor didn't tell me this or the lender didn't tell me that. Like, you also have to do your own research when you're purchasing a home. I don't know, like, what questions do y'all have as far as purchasing a home, as far as property tax, as far as your mortgage going up? Like, you have to do your research, and you definitely have to ask questions before you sign on that dotted line, whether it's the day of closing and you have more questions for the lender, but you don't want to ask them because you're too excited. Always remember, you have to be the ones to pay the bills. Your lender doesn't have to pay the bill. Your realtor don't have to pay the bill. At the end of the day, you have to pay the bill, and you have to be the one out on the street. If you have to sell your house or what may have you, it might not even be worth selling your house, depending on how long you have been in your house. So you might not even have as much equity. But the tip of the day is, make sure you ask your lenders questions at the beginning and at the end. They always send out multiple disclosures of estimates for your mortgage. And also ask the closing attorney, because the closing attorney also goes over everything before you close on your new home.
Grimes, how the hell did my payment go up $1,000? That's the first call I received this morning from an old client of mine. Sometime last year, she bought a new build property, and she went with the builder's lender for the incentives, right? Understandable. But what it looks like is that the builder's lender, shame on him or her, decided to go with the unimproved land tax, which is a lot less than what the actual tax quote was going to be with the actual structure being on the land. So this causes a shortage in the client's escrow account with the mortgage company. Mortgage company is paying the tax and the insurance. So they say, okay, well, this is what it's going to be. So we're having to cover it for you. So now we're going to increase your payment in order to make up the difference. That sucks. But it's nothing you can do about it. So here's what you can do. One, you can go ahead and have your homeowner's insurance reviewed, and shop it around a little bit to see if you can get a lower homeowners insurance policy. Especially here in Texas right now, a lot of people's homeowners insurance is doubling currently. And so if you can see if you can get that a little bit lower, that'll help out with that shortage that you have in your escrow account. And then you also would you want to go ahead and make sure you file for your homestead exemption in the state of Texas, or anywhere else, but especially in Texas, because you will save a nice little chunk of change on that homeowner's insurance. On that property tax. The good news is it probably won't be $1,000 that she's going to be increasing her payment by. Bad news is the payment's still going to increase because you're having to account for the property tax that wasn't paid and wasn't quoted to you. So if you're buying a new build property and you're going with the new build lender or any lender, if they're trying to give you $300 property tax per month on a $600,000-$700,000 house, use your common sense. That's not real. It may feel good in the short period, but in the long term, it's going to piss you off when you get that letter from your mortgage company. Okay? You don't get any grace for ignorance. You got to think about it.
Like, I didn't know that when I was building a home that I was just gonna have to pay taxes off the land, and then when the home is actually built, then you got to pay taxes on the actual home and the land, which increased my mortgage by $3,000. I didn't know that. So now my mortgage is increased by $3,000 from what I'm currently paying. And plus you still got all these other expensive and stuff like that. I don't knock buying a home. I think the goal should always still buy a home, but you should be prepared to know what's to come. Like I say, if they would have told me like, hey, your tax is going to be based off of this number instead of this number in a year, no, that wouldn't have changed my decision. I still would have moved forward. But if they would have told me that, I would have been prepared and not, look in the mail and be like, bro, who this for? You feel me? Who is this for? I know y'all ain't trying to increase my mortgage. And then the thing like that is like, it's aggravating because it's like, bro, you think I'm just about to allow you to bully me? I feel like I'm like y'all trying to bully me. Like, you think you're just about to just get $3,000 extra out of me and no say so. But come to find out, this is how this junk is. So I wish I would have just known a little bit more. But at the end of the day, it wouldn't have changed my decision at all to build a home at all. I'm still thankful, thank the Most High that He, blessed me and my family to be able to do so. I'm not complaining or anything like that. I'm very thankful, but I just wish I would have more prepared to that. But at the end of the day, it really don't matter because guess what? The house going to be paid off. Like I say, I would never be victim of a situation. I'll always be a victor of anything. So they can try to increase whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter because guess what? The house about to be paid off anyways. So it really don't matter. But for the people that don't know, if you buy a home, make sure that you got all that information in place, the taxes, all that stuff, what the house going to be. Make sure you know all that stuff going into it so you can be prepared, and not be shocked when you look in the mail and be like, who the fuck? And then also the escrow. You got to know what's going on with the escrow because if your escrow is short, now you got to pay this shortage thing that increase your mortgage as well. So if you could pay extra inside your escrow, make sure you could pay extra. Make sure you do so. If you just paying what's, what the mortgage company got you set up with, 9 times out of 10, when that when your taxes and stuff go up, that escrow gonna go up and it's gonna cause a shortage. So be prepared for that. Just get educated all the way around with the buying experience. Just be educated, so you can be prepared when you buy your home, purchase your home, build your home, whatever the case is. So pay attention to the taxes, the escrows. If you're in the HOA community, whatever the case is, just be prepared, But that's not stopping us from buying and purchasing and building, nothing like that. Still build and buy and purchase. Let's go.
Guys, tell me why my mortgage went from, don't judge me here, $3,200 a month to $5,600 a month. Backstory here is I was looking for a house back in 2022, and I put in offers on multiple homes. So we decided to go, they got declined, and they wanted 50 to 60 grand over asking price for the homes with no contingencies and all that kind of stuff. Long story short, I bought a new home with Ryan Homes. The worst decision I've ever made in my life, I swear to God, and I am paying for it till right now. long story short, I'm actually selling that home right now. Bought a mortgage with Ryan Homes, and I am the last house that's built on this subdivision, the absolute last house. When I signed on the dotted line, my mortgage was 32 and some change, and I was fine with that because that's what I expected, the size of the home, X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada. Come to find out that, again, I had a realtor during this time, but with new construction, Ryan Homes doesn't pay the realtor a commission. So I was like, well, okay. I'm not going to ask him to come in and do any kind of work because he's not going to get compensated for it. So I let him know what I was doing, and then ended up being no realtor. So anyway, next thing I know, I get the first tax bill on the property with land. On the property with the home built. The taxes were $16,000. $16,000. So that's not not the half of it. So I then call like, hey, is this right? Is this correct? Like, yeah, that's your correct property taxes. We're not sure why, but Ryan Holmes should have did your estimate based off what your taxes could be on the home, because you're the last home built. So there's plenty of comps in the area that they can use as, hey, your taxes could be this. However, they use taxes off the land because it's going to show you a cheaper mortgage. Okay, so I'm like, okay, so what do you have to do? Well, you got to pay them so your property taxes go up. Okay. The next part of this is that being that my property taxes will be this, and being that the property taxes were underestimated for that year of 2023, I believe it was. Now my escrow account is negative $11,000. My escrow account is negative $11,000 because Ryan Homes only used property taxes on the land. So now I not only have to get my current property taxes updated into my mortgage, now I have the rears back taxes in my mortgage. People, when I tell you I almost lost my shit, I did lose my shit. I'm not gonna lie, I lost my shit. I completely lost my shit because this is something they don't tell you about new construction. And people will say, oh, you should have had your realtor, you should have had your attorney. And that, I guess I take the hit on that because I'm thinking I'm not going to use my realtor who I've been using to show me these houses, because Ryan Homes, they don't pay a commission off the sale. So I'm like, man, that's not right. I'm not going to use my realtor to come in and do free work. I'm going to have to pay out of pocket for my realtor. And then So mortgage went from $32,000 to $5,600 a month. And I'm like, yo, this can't be right. So now I'm looking up property taxes in Libertyville and Vernon Hills on houses that are places, nicer areas than this. This is Antioch, Illinois. No knock against Antioch, but it's not Libertyville, it's not Vernon Hills. It's nothing. There's no restaurants. I mean, there is a few, but it's not built out like that. The infrastructure isn't in place like those places is. And I'm just kind of like, what the So, long story short, I know I said that before, but this fast forward. I'm sorry saying that. Fast forward. Unfortunately, the home that I thought I was going to be in for 7-10 years, that my kids would grow up in, I'm selling that home because we can't afford it. And I refuse to be house poor and paying for a house that I'm just trying to keep up with. There's no way possible I'm going to, and let me say this too, is that the mortgage will end up being, even if I didn't have the taxes in the rear, escrow account, the mortgage will still end up being, I did the math, it was like $4,000 something a month. right? Because my more principal and interest was like 27. The property tax was like another 13 something. So it was like $4,100 a month. No, absolutely not. I refuse to pay $4,100 on a house, property taxes that amount, and you don't have anything to go off of. So yeah, guys, if you are thinking of doing new construction, if you are thinking going with a Ryan Homes, if you are thinking going with any new construction, any new development, specifically Ryan Homes, make sure that you look on that paper and it doesn't say, when it says taxes, make sure you ask them, is this property on the house after it's built what it could be or before? Because if you see something that says, unless you're in a different area, stuff like that, I get it. I'm in Antioch, Illinois. If you see something that's like $2,000 or $3,000, property taxes, make sure you ask them, hey, is this on before the house is built or after the house is built? Because they can estimate what your taxes are going to be based off what they sold you the house for, right? They can do that. So, will they? Probably not. But again, Ryan Homes, because you screwed me. You have effed over my life, and this has set me back tremendously. I did a lot of hard work to build my credit, save money for a home, and I just gave it away because it's crazy. There should be something in the laws that says new construction builders should have to show you property taxes on what the home value, what your property taxes are going to be, because that would change everything. That would change your mortgage. That would change everything. And I would have told them, no, I'm good. I'm not buying this. I'm gonna keep looking. But it is what it is. Looking for a new home. Here's to chapter 2, starting all over again.
Y'all, so I just got my yearly escrow review, right? I own my house and I pay for mortgage. My monthly mortgage is $3,332.74. That's how much I pay to live here, okay? Remember, the people, they tell me I live in the ghetto. I act like I live in Beverly Hills, but I live in the ghetto. But in order to live in this ghetto house, I pay $3,332.74. Well, guess what? Your girl just got her yearly escrow. So, boom. They say, by the way, Mr. Cooper is my loan folks. Mr. Cooper wrote me a letter, and they said, hey, girl, you have a shortage in your escrow of $12,426.11. Wow. Okay. How did that happen? Well, several things probably happened. Probably taxes went up. But remember, y'all told me I live in the ghetto, so they say probably your property taxes went up. Maybe your homeowner's insurance or something went up. Okay. Guess what? They're telling me my new mortgage will be as of March 1st. Okay. So if I pay this 12 option 1, it's to don't do anything, and starting March 1, my new mortgage will be, are you ready? $5,337.65. Okay, watch this video out to the end so I can get paid. Okay, please, thank you. Okay, or I can pay the $12,426.11, and my new mortgage will be $4,302.14. Yay! What? So my mortgage is going up $2,000.
So something life-altering has happened to me and my family, and I've been debating about whether I want to talk about it or not, but I just saw a TikTok of a guy that went through the exact same thing. The only difference was, in my opinion, it's worse for my family than what he went through, but I just saw that, like, he got through it, and so I'm going to go ahead and share my story. And the huge reason why I also didn't want to share it is because it's embarrassing, and I know it's like our fault, and we should have done our research, and we should have known better. So the blame is on us, but you live and you learn, and we have definitely learned from this experience. But what happened is that we purchased a home last year. Last December, we moved into it was our second home. So we had sold our first home, and we were able to purchase the second home. It was a beautiful home. The price was higher, definitely higher than our first home, but it was something that was doable for us, and it was our dream home. And we thought that we were going to raise our children in this home, and we were going to have this home for a very long time. And the mortgage was 3832, which might seem high for some, but for us it was fine. We could do that. And so then in February, we received the new mortgage for the year, that had like the escrow and all that, and it showed that we had an escrow shortage of $23,000, because whenever they had calculated the mortgage and the property taxes back in whenever we had purchased the home, they calculated it for the land. They didn't take into account that a home was going to be on the land. So whenever they realized, oh, there's a home on the land, then it gave us an escrow shortage of that $23,000. So our mortgage went from $3832 to around $7,200 a month, $7,200 and change. So 3832, affordable. 7,200, no way we can do that. No way at all. Whenever somebody had mentioned how, a new home, they probably did calculate at land value, so it's probably going to go up. I was thinking, oh, maybe it'll go up $1,000, and I was prepared for that. Like, okay, we can do it. We can even though to me, like, that's expensive. Like a $4,800 mortgage is a lot for me, but I was like, we can do it, no problem. But to go to $7,200 a month, like, no, I live in Texas, and I could probably be living in a mansion or something close to a mansion, paying $7,200 a month. Our home is not, or I could have two homes in Texas for that price. I could have two mortgages to pay $7,200 a month, even three homes. So that was just ridiculous to me. And like I said, I know we are to blame. We should have done our research. The realtor that we had, she was not a good realtor, and the mortgage company was the seller's mortgage company, the one that they went with and recommended. So I'm sure, they knew what they were doing. They knew that they calculated it land value, and they showed us that 3832 because they knew that's what we could afford, and we would purchase the home. And they knew that if they had told us the truth of how much it would be, that we probably wouldn't have purchased the home. So they knew what they were doing. So while it is our fault, we should have done the research and found out, that the price was only land value and it wasn't calculated correctly. I still feel like they, just being decent humans, they should have let us know that it's going to go up. So we have this escrow shortage. Thankfully, I called, so the mortgage company sold it to another mortgage company. So I called them, and what they did, I let them know, I'm like, we're going to sell our home. We're going to put it on the market. Like, we can't afford this. So they said, okay. So what they did was they stretched that $23,000 escrow shortage. They stretched it out for 3 years, which dropped our mortgage to now, I think it's $5,166 is what we're paying right now, which is still a lot. But our home is for sale. It's been for sale for a little over 40 days now. We haven't had any interest in it. So this is already going on our second month that we're paying that $5,000 and change on the mortgage. And every month it's like, praying that somebody, we need a buyer, and we dropped the price. We've already dropped the price 3 times. But it is what it is, We'd never expected in our wildest dreams that this would happen, but people need to be aware whenever you purchase a new home, you need to make sure that you ask your realtor, ask the mortgage company, are you calculating it on just the land, the property taxes, or are you calculating it as though there's a house on that land? Because there is a huge difference. And I don't want anybody to be in the same situation as us, where you end up having to sell your dream home, and then even, like I said, now not only are we selling our dream home, but nobody wants to buy it. See, you can see there's our for sale sign right there. So I'm going to continue to pray, and I have faith in God, and I know everything happens for.
When your mortgage payment goes from $1,700 a month to $5,500 a month and you don't react, it does surprise me. I recently had a client that came to me that owned a house and wanted to purchase a $700,000 house. But their current mortgage payment was only $1,700 a month. And in the last 24 months, they'd actually had some late payments on that mortgage. I never thought they would actually get approved for the full $700,000. But when I run them through the automated underwriting system, it approved them with 5% down. And the payment was $5,500. At that point, I actually sat on it for a day or so because I thought to myself, well, they're never going to do this. But then I'll just call them. I'll give them their options and let them do what they want to do, because it's really not up to me. It's up to them. Call them up. I give them the $5,500 payment. They're listening to me. They're not saying a whole lot. Now, I know I'm quoting them a payment that's about $4,000 more than they're paying right now. And it's a loan that they've had late payments on. And they basically say to me, well, how much cash do we need? I tell them how much cash they were going to need. And it's about 90% of the money they have saved in order to buy this $700,000 house. And I'm waiting for them to go, well, that's just too much. Maybe we should look at something in a lower price point. They pretty much say to me, can you get that pre-approval letter out? Because we want to move forward. I was really surprised.